I'll take in the reins early. This is Andy Hoffman here with Ansel Lindner. Adam is in Spain right now, and he's having terrible problems with Google Hangouts. But luckily, myself and Ansel Lindner right here can hear each other. And so we are recording until Adam can figure out a way to get in. So Ansel, how are you doing today?
I'm great. This is crazy. So he's not in Catalonia, right? So, but maybe Spain is locking down the internet.
That was our first thought, but he's definitely not in Catalonia. He's in a place that none of us know where, but it is in Spain. And so pound the like button if you want to see a show without Adam's face, just for a few minutes. Okay, so Ansel, let's see. We were just talking about what topics we want to discuss today. And first, we figured why not talk about the chain split tokens that just started trading last night for SegWit2x. I guess they're akin to futures. What do you think of how the initial trading is and what it means, if anything?
Sorry, I was muted. The volume hasn't picked up very much yet. And I'm going to share my screen here. So this is the, can you see the screen?
Yes.
This is the 2x coin. And so we see it trading at about a quarter of the Bitcoin price. But like I said, the volume hasn't picked up yet. And I like this. I think 2x, I've always said that if it doesn't trade as BTC, the ticker BTC or XBTC on some exchanges, then it's an altcoin automatically. And so, yeah, I think that's what we're seeing is the exchanges want to list it as an altcoin, and they're kind of deciding, they're going to decide this whole thing.
Right. Well, I think at this point, it's almost comical. It's almost like this has been so bastardized, this 2x. It doesn't really have much support. The Bcash fork front ran it, and it's the same people supporting Bcash, which, by the way, is crashing. It's certainly crashing against Bitcoin. It's unstable, and no one's using it. The emergency difficulty adjustments are showing that it's basically what I call a Bitmain run Ponzi scheme. So, but it's the same people that are trying to support Bcash and at the same time support 2x. It's almost like, does anyone really believe that 2x has any reason to exist? And if it did, it would do any better than Bcash. So, you know, the fact that it's trading at a quarter of a Bitcoin, I mean, you kidding? 2.5 times the level of Bcash? That is insane. But again, as I was writing about this morning, this is, it just started trading on no volume. If there even is an S2X fork, it's not for another 6 weeks. So I would take it with a grain of salt, because the odds of it coming out at $1,000 a Bitcoin and maintaining that price are about the same, in my opinion, as a blizzard in hell.
Yeah, and I saw a tweet yesterday that I think was one of the best tweets of the year so far. That one fork dilutes the brand of Bitcoin, but 10 forks supports the brand of Bitcoin, because everyone's going to want to buy BTC so that they can get all of these crypto dividends, like Adam likes to say. So, yeah, bring it on. Bring on all the forks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, when it comes down to it, anyone who's been in this space for any amount of time, certainly if you've been in it for this year, I'm trying to think when it got scary. I think it would have to be the Bitcoin Unlimited. So let's call it about March. Right after we got through the Chinese FUD early in the year was the Bitcoin Unlimited, which frankly to me was the most scary of all the FUD we dealt with all year, because that was when you had the maximum fear of what an actual hard fork could do. And the ironic thing is it wasn't Bitcoin Unlimited that was the fork. It turned out to be Bitcoin Cash, which no one had even heard of until several weeks before it. And to this day, I'm still not sure why Rod Javer and friends decide to do it then, but they did. And when it happened and we realized that it not only had no effect on Bitcoin, it actually made Bitcoin stronger. The price went up, and here we are 2 months later, and everyone's almost laughing at Bcash. So after that one fork, I think, you know, the concept of forks as something to be scared of is dead. And if you wanted to, if anything is going to solidify that, it's going to be this upcoming fiasco with 2x, which, yes, I know a lot of people think they will do it because they say, well, we've done the work, so we're going to do it. But man, if they do it, I think it's going to be a tremendous disgrace, embarrassment, and it's going to end forever if there's even any hard fork fears left in Bitcoin.
Yeah, I think one of the great things that's been an outcome of all this stuff over the last 12 months is the community. A lot of people in the space have learned so much about how Bitcoin works. They've learned the players in the game, who to trust, who not to trust. And Bitcoin is just much stronger today. One of my favorite things is, or sayings, is to say that Bitcoin is a better store of value today than yesterday, and it will just continue to be that way.
Yeah, I think one of the other things about Bitcoin, maybe it's because technology, generally speaking, moves so fast. And look, I'm used to being, I've been in the precious metal space for a long time, where technology couldn't be slower and things don't change much. But here it's dog years. I mean, it's double dog years for whatever goes on. So when you think about how in March, remember the big drop from 3,000, like 1,800 in July, just before, Ethereum was going up. We were going to have a flippening, and there's going to be a hard fork, and everyone was terrified. That was just like 3 months ago. Now it's so far past, because the learning curve in Bitcoin is so fast, and the whole world knows that hard forks are no longer dangerous. They're comical. Yes, it would be dangerous to try to split your coins if these idiots don't have replay protection. But then again, if they don't have replay protection, no one's going to support it. I mean, a lot of the wallets still haven't supported Bcash, which did. And on top of that, they're also going to be busy trying to support B Gold, which is going to supersede it. B Gold is only 2 weeks away, and that's a lot of work. So they're definitely not going to want to support something that no one wants, and something that is dangerous. It's one thing to trade futures, which doesn't cost you anything. It's another thing to have to handle the potential for lawsuits.
Yeah, and the more forks there are, the exchanges are gonna, and all the service providers and everything. I mean, it kind of offloads all these forkers, or people that are trying to hard fork. They're offloading a lot of their cost onto the exchanges and onto the wallet providers and stuff. And pretty soon the wallet providers are just going to get upset with it, and they will only support quote unquote friendly forks. So anything that's seen as an attack, I don't think we'll even have to worry about that in the future, because exchanges and wallet providers will be so upset with it.
Yeah, I think, yes, a lot of people are saying, well, everyone will fork now because they can, and because it doesn't destroy the network, and it's a quote a creative way to create an altcoin. But the fact is, there's a tremendous amount of diminishing returns. Maybe the reason, maybe Roger Ver and Jian Wu realized that this early. Maybe they were smart enough to realize, if we're the first ones to do it, we can cash out a lot. I mean, man, they got a lot from it. They're still getting a lot from it, even with their Ponzi scheme EDAs. And for heck, they could have been using it, to sell those coins to buy more Bitcoin, for all you know. But the second time around is a lot more difficult, let alone if you have no replay protection. Because again, how many of these things can the wallets and the exchanges support? And how many times do people care? I mean, the only reason I'm really excited about B Gold is because they say they will compete with Ethereum. But if someone tries to compete with Bitcoin like S2X, I think people are going to laugh at it. And after 10 forks, the exchanges are just not going to even pay attention to them anymore.
Yeah, and all the money to be made over the next 12 months or 24 months even isn't going to be launching your ICO with all, like China and South Korea and everybody banning them. It's going to be with forking Bitcoin. So I expect a lot of friendly forks, actually, not very many hostile forks.
Yeah, look, I guess it'll be harder and harder to get the exchanges to support them, but that's part of the evolution of the sector. You will have to have a use case. It can't just be like, yeah, here's a white paper, we're going to do something, because the exchanges are going to have a lot of choices. They're going to be like, look, we only have so much bandwidth. We're only going to support things that are worth supporting. And so it's part of the way the ICO market, or whatever you want to call it, is going to evolve over time. And the beauty of it is, Adam says, hold your root coin. You can pick and choose what you want to split. If you think things are dangerous, avoid them. If you think they're not, split them. And people are going to get really smart about doing it. But the most important thing is, don't do dumb things with your Bitcoin. Don't send it to places to be split. If you have a Trezor, wait for the Trezor to support it. If you have a wallet that you don't trust, well, don't do anything with it, but do not risk that root coin.
Yep. Pound that like button, people.
Yes, pound that like button. And Adam is, he's still, I see he left chat, he joined chat, he's desperately trying. But you know what? This will be a novelty for now, and maybe he will get in by the end of the show. So on that note, why not talk about B Gold? Because look, B Gold, or Bitcoin Gold, is indeed a friendly fork. They want to compete with Ethereum. They support Bitcoin Core developers. They have absolutely no issue with Bitcoin. They truly are using the chain as a creative way to create a fork. And there's no replay protection. And the dates are, for people who are not sure, the date that you have to have your legacy Bitcoin is October 25th. The date of the fork is November 1st. So there won't be any splitting until November 1st. That is if the wallet or exchange that you have it on is supporting it then. And we don't know who's going to support it and when. But, you know, and again, there's an exchange called BitStar. I looked it up. It is an exchange. They will be trading as of Tuesday the 10th, meaning only a few days from now, actual futures. And I will take those futures with a lot more certainty than I would S2X futures for some uncertain fork 6 weeks from now. So Ansel, you'd mentioned to me that you weren't following this one as deeply, but do you have any initial thoughts as we get closer to this fork, which could be a really interesting crypto dividend?
Yeah, one of my interests is the game theory behind all this stuff. And so if B Gold is friendly and they're not trying to, play the same game as Bitcoin, then it's I don't follow it quite as much. But what I do find interesting, you say that they're trying to do or compete with Ethereum, and they are going to be GPU mining, from what I understand, or using a GPU algorithm. So the timing is pretty interesting, getting right in when Ethereum is supposed to be going over to proof of stake, and they're having back and forth with their miners right now. So that will be interesting to see a lot of the miners go from Ethereum and jump onto B Gold right when they're switching over from proof of stake.
Yeah, and again, I don't follow Ethereum. I mean, look, I follow Ethereum. How could you not? But I certainly follow its price, and I'm aware generally of them. But I'm not as smart about. I mean, I'm not really that smart about Bitcoin's technology, but I hear about it a lot more than I do. And the fact is that from everything I've ever seen about Ethereum, which you couldn't pay me to invest in, it's a tech stock. I don't consider it a cryptocurrency. And it's a tech stock within a tremendous amount of vulnerability. And I forgot who I was listening to, maybe on World Crypto Network, saying that they have the network effects that will cover up a lot of this. It'll be hard to overtake them for that reason. But the fact is that they are the equivalent, of a typical tech stock that has a lot of competition. And yes, they are centralized. And yes, they are doing all these switches with hard forks, proof of work, proof of